Big story in tonight, an issue which has grabbed headlines for 2 weeks now, with Nigel Farage and scores of others seeing their bank accounts closed down, seemingly for their political views. Now, Farage has launched a website to stand up for people who have been denied bank accounts. I'll give you the details of that website very shortly. He said he will fight back against the big banks who have let us down, calling it a scandal. It comes after Mr Farage obtained a report from the bank which indicated his political views were the reason for his account closure. Since then, Dame Alison Rose, chief executive of NatWest, and the person running Coots, a chap called Peter Flavel, have both gone. What now for the tattered reputation of British banking? Let's speak to a man who was the face of the Halifax for over a decade, Howard Brown. Here's a little video to jog your memory.
I'm giving it back to you, babe. Oh, it's a first and last, my extra thing. And the answer to your banking dreams.
Brilliant stuff. Howard, those were the days when banks just looked after your finances.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Great to see you. Listen, your reaction...
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, go on.
Well, yeah, to be honest with you, Mark, I'm a little bit saddened by the whole process because I was brought up to believe that the customer is always right. Yeah. I spent, as you said before, over 10 years working within customer service and loved it. Had a great, we used to have great accounts at the time, but the most important thing for us was putting our customers first. So I just think that, the current situation is very, very unfortunate. And I think that we just need to take a step back on this one and had some common sense to it. I mean, I think that we just need to get back to treating people fairly and honestly and treat people the way that you want to be treated yourself. And I think that certainly has to be the right way forward.
Were you aware of anything like this going on during your time in banking?
No, it just didn't happen. I mean, this seems to have just crept into society. It was never, ever there. And my experiences were wonderful. I had a great period of time there. I like working customer service and I like working with people, but my experiences were wonderful. Not only did I have a combination of sort of working within the bank itself, obviously it took me off to do some of the commercials that you just saw there. I mean, I had the opportunity to travel all over the world. So no, it just wasn't there. Our prime and key focus was our customers. We always put our customers first because we all know that our customers are, the lifeblood of our organisation. They're the lifeblood of any organisation, and we have to look after them.
What do you think about people having their bank accounts cancelled for their political views?
Well, I think the whole process is very, very sad indeed for all those people that are suffering in that respect. I understand that the government are looking at it. So let's hope that we get some legislation that protects people, protects everybody, because it does affect all of us and it is a concerning time. But as I said before, I mean, this is something that's new to me. And so I'm very, very saddened by it that this is actually happening.
Yes, I mean, Howard, earlier this year you launched a very entertaining and successful pop song in which you blasted fake diversity, unconscious bias training and pronouns. The title of the song was What Happened? Let's take a listen.
What happened? Everybody's scared of being attacked. What happened? Suddenly opinions are now facts. What happened? Things were descending to new lows, and my glasses are still slipping down me nose.
Some things just never change.
My glasses are still slipping down me nose.
I hope they don't make that illegal.
I said my glasses are still slipping down me nose.
Don't want to be cancelled.
I tell you what, you are a talented man, but really that song has sort of been described as a bit of a criticism of political correctness or wokeism. Yes. What do you think about the infiltration of these woke ideas into businesses?
Right. Well, in terms of that actual song, I know a lot of people have labelled it a lot of things, but for me, I label it as a fun song. And basically, it was a song just to highlight some of the issues that were actually happening in society at the moment, and there are a lot of them. And really, what we're trying to say is, look, let's just take a step back at this. Let's just bring some common sense to what's happening in society, and not take each other too seriously, because things at the moment people seem to be very, very aggressive, very, very angry amongst ourselves. And I think we need to get back to being, respectful to each other. I mean, that seems to be lacking at the moment.
I agree, and less political. How damaging, Howard, do you think this debanking scandal could be for the banking industry?
Oh, it could be very, very bad, because at the end of the day, we're all customers. I consider myself to be a customer. We're all customers, and we want to know that when we go into our banks, that we're going to be treated honestly and fairly. And I think that's something that we need to get back to very, very soon.
Well, indeed. Listen, Halifax, I know that you've always been on very good terms with them, and I don't anticipate that will ever change. It's a very popular and successful bank, but they raised eyebrows with a policy of pronouns on the name badges for people working in their branches. What do you think about policies like that?
Well, I was very surprised when I first heard that, because it wasn't part of the Halifax that I knew. As I said before, I had a wonderful, wonderful time with them, and they are a great organisation. They do a lot of great work for charities and so on. But it was a strange one for me. But again, I suppose that things do change, and that's one of the changes that had took place. But I just felt that for me personally, that I didn't really want to wear a name badge. But for those people that did, that's okay and that's proper. But for me, I just didn't feel like I wanted to, because my focus has always been on the customer. And so that's what I tend to focus on.
Indeed. Listen, Howard, before we let you go, it's such a tonic to have you back on the show. And you're so right about your message. Your message that we just have a ceasefire about all this politics. Do you sort of back Nigel Farage's campaign to help people who have been debanked? I mean, do you feel that having a bank account is essentially a human right?
Well, I think it's a very, very important cause that Nigel is fighting for, because it affects everybody. And for all those people who have been debanked, any help that can help them getting back on track is welcomed. So I think it's a very, very good cause, because it affects everybody.
Too right. Well, listen, it's been an absolute thrill to have you on the show, and we will catch up soon. Folks, let's get the details of Nigel's bank account, his special website that Nigel has set up in order to help people who have been debanked. We ought to be able to call that up. In fact, I'll give you the details. I'm just on the GB News website, by the way. What a great website, gbnews.com. And we'll just flick through this and we will find that particular wonderful website. Let's have a look. Where is it? It's you see, I'm a very slow reader. I will call it up after the break. We'll get you that information, because if you're worried about losing your bank account, then Nigel is here to help. I found it. There you go. I can be trusted. It's accountclosed.org. There you go. Accountclosed.org. My thanks to Howard Brown.